Well, good morning, good afternoon, and of course, good evening, traders from across the globe. Thank you, as always, thank you so much for tuning into my 2926th edition of Short-Term Trading Live with Oscar Carboni. And as you know, these videos are geared to teach you the art of technical analysis, and I'm pretty darn good at that art, so make sure you pay attention to these videos. We always start with reminding you about the risks involved in this game, trading. Very risky. One of the best things you can do to mitigate that risk is put your protective stops in first before you ever enter into a position. You'll live a lot longer in this industry if you heed that warning. If you know about stops, let's go. For trading on June 11th, Wednesday, 2025, lots of stuff on the board. Traders, do you remember right around the weekend that Trump was coming out with Liberation Day tariffs? We had Morgan Stanley, Goldman Sachs CEOs come out and say, on Monday, we're going to have this big crash, which is going to lead to a recession because we hate, we hate what happened, and They all came out and said the bad stuff. But I don't think anyone ever asked their chart department. Did they ever go to their analysis department and ask them, should we come out and say this is going to happen? Because Sunday night before that crash Monday, I came out with the video to tell all of you, I know what Wall Street's looking for. Wall Street support is on the way. Do not get out. And then every video for the next 5 to 10 days said, do not bail out of this market. Wall Street support is here. And we have bottomed since. Here we are. Since then, I've been holding back on some information, waiting for confirmation of such information. Then I could bring it to you in my daily affirmation, which is what I'm doing now. So, the information I was holding back on, waiting for confirmation, is this. V-bottoms and head and shoulders are all over the stock market charts. I mean, all over them. V-bottoms, inverted head and shoulders, which means the market is going to go much higher as this year progresses according to those formations. Then we've got silver with the big double top, and it got above the double top for a day. And you know what? OMNI made some good money on that trade. Now we've got a problem. We're still at that double top in silver. It's scary. Do you know why? Because Omni just went red and we're at the double top and I am not buying anything. I'm going short silver if I can for trading on Wednesday. If you're with me at livewithoscar.com in my trading room, maybe you'll be getting short silver too. We always put our stops in first, right? So there'll be a stop up there somewhere in case we're wrong. That goes in first, then we'll get short and we'll see what happens. Viva la Omni. It doesn't seem to be wrong all that often. Let's see what it wants to do for silver. It's expecting some down movement. We'll see what's going to happen. Tesla rides again. Once again, I came out in front of the camera and said, listen, you had this big feud. I called it basically the tag team match. Not quite a tag team match, but I called it a good old-fashioned wrestling match between Trump and Musk. And that's going to create the big downdraft. But almost always when Trump has one of those big events, the biggest move happens that day and then you recover. So I showed you a technical reason and a fundamental reason why. Don't worry about Tesla. It will recover, and Tesla has recovered smartly, right? So very nice so far. The analysis, that means, is working really well. V-bottoms and head and shoulders, I'll show you the charts all over the stock charts. Silver, scary now. You'll see why when I show you the charts there. And Tesla, I'm telling you, baby, it still looks good now. I am not long Tesla. I'm just letting you know what the chart looked like a few days ago. It did make its up move. No opinion at this point, but it still looks decent on the charts. Traders, I've got a boot camp. Came out of nowhere. I didn't expect it, but I had some Omniacs call me and say, please, I want to come out to your camp. I didn't have one scheduled. They told me the date that worked for them, and here it is. July 31st, the last day of July through the first 4 days of August. You show up in Vegas on a Thursday night. You work with me all day Friday, all day Saturday, all day Sunday, all day Monday. You will go home Monday with a brand new laptop. It will be pre-programmed by me with everything in it that we've worked on. And then I've got a separate trading room for graduates of my course. I can continue to educate you there. All of this is going to happen July 31st through August 4th here in Las Vegas. OMNIBootcamp.com. I'm only accepting 2 more students. I'll take all your applications. Only 2 students are going to be invited. Please send in your applications. Go to OMNIBootcamp.com right now if you want to be with me and learn the Omni. And I'll bet you after watching this video and all the fantastic stuff you've seen in the past, you're going to want to go to OMNIBootcamp.com and fill out an application. The chart segment is just out of control here. All right, traders, so one last thing. So far, so good on our Omni Trading Rex. 10,000 for Jan, 19,000 for Feb, using 1 lot calculation only. 75.12 in March, and why I always bring that one up is that's the badge I've been wearing since I'm 21 years old, and that's this year's ES projection. 75.12, crazy number to come up with in March. April, we lost 8,600. May, we made 20,400. And July, well, June, so far so good in June, man. Thank you, Omni. The month's not over. I got nothing to promise you except for so far so good in the month of June. If you need help trading, I send out recommendations every day. Simple. Just go to livewithoscar.com and you will join my site. It costs nothing to join, no credit cards. If you want trading Rex, you can upgrade and you can get my recommendations 24 hours a day. But the chart segment, I can't wait to show you. That's coming up right now. Traders, you're going to love this. Just remember, these markets are crazy. These markets are volatile. These markets are dangerous. You can never trade without stops. Once you put that stop in lieu of changing it when it gets close or buying more and lowering it, which is a cardinal sin, say this to yourselves instead and let that stop get hit. Are you with me? 1, 2, 3. Stops are in. Emotions are out. Rock and roll traders, fill out those OmniCamp applications now. I'll call you back. And with no further ado, let's go look at some charts. Traders, the E-mini S&P weekly bar chart looked like this. Powell came out and said what he had to say. We weren't lowering rates anymore, and we started a spiral. Then right about here, Mr. Trump, well, by the way, we were starting to do projections. Right about here, Trump came out with his tariffs, right, the Liberation Day. And during this period, I gave out targets and said, first, please stay calm. Do not bail out of stocks. I know what Wall Street is looking for. They're going to be looking for this area between 49.75 and 47.75. If we drop, that's what could happen. Be ready for it there. You know what it got down to? 48.32, traders. Right in between those two numbers. It stopped cold right there. So let's look at it. This is exactly what actually transpired. We came out with the targets right here. Bam, we came down, hit the targeted area, bounced out, and we have rallied so far 1,217 points from this low in 2 months. We go 1,400 more points and we hit 75.12. How about that? We've done 1,200 points in 2 months. You don't think we could do 1,400 points in 6 months? I think we can. I think my projection is dead on. So that's what the weekly looked like. Here is what's been important. This is what I've been holding back on. Wanted to watch for confirmation. Confirmation I now have. I was waiting to get above my OTAPMA for confirmation. We have an inverted head and shoulders in the Russell ever since that bottom was made. Here's the left shoulder. The head is underneath because it's inverted. And here's the right shoulder. This tells us we will move much higher. And this right shoulder is now out above OTAPMA, Omni Trading Academy's proprietary moving average. So there's a head and shoulders here inverted. We're out of it or getting out of it. And we're above OTAPMA. Same chart. V bottom, right? Look at that wonderful V bottom. Now, I promise you, Wall Street looks for V bottoms, not head and shoulders. That they're paying attention to. They see that V bottom. It's above OTAPMA. Inverted head and shoulders. It's even bigger. This is the same exact chart. If you don't call this and this the shoulders, you could go out to here. The head, the right shoulder is still building above Omni Trading Academy's proprietary, the OTAPMA. And it looks like it will go higher. Nothing goes straight up, kids, right? We have some downward movement, but higher is this entire projection that we're seeing in the Russell. Now we're going to look at the E-mini S&P. E-mini S&P, shoulder, inverted head, right shoulder, same thing. The entire piece up here now is above OTAPMA. So that looks pretty strong. Look at this once again. It's much bigger. It's a much bigger head and shoulders, a big shoulder. The head dips deep low on the tariff news, and the right shoulder is still forming, and most of the entire right shoulder is above OTAPMA. That, my friends, is bullish. Then, looking at it the way Wall Street would, V bottom, right? Tell me that doesn't look like a V bottom. Go V bottoms and inverted head and shoulders. So Wall Street is paying attention. I promise you, they're seeing the same thing I'm showing you, the V bottom. That's stuff you'll hear on TV. You'll read about it in books. So V bottom it's out there. It's used a lot. They are going to key off of it. Dow Jones, the E-mini, the YM, left shoulder, head, inverted, of course, right shoulder above OTAPMA. And once again, Wall Street does not miss it. Look at the V bottom. They see it. They see that bottom. I'm sure you see it. They bought it here, they bought it here, they bought it here, they're buying it here, they bought it here, and they started buying it there. They're not blind, I promise you. Next, the NASDAQ. Look at the size of the left shoulder, the head inverted, right shoulder. Of course, we could take this to a smaller head and shoulders as well. So you got a small head and shoulders inverted, a larger head and shoulders building around it. They all look kind of the same way. And once again, V bottom, NASDAQ, Wall Street's watching, kids. You got a V bottom there. And if you look, they buy it every time you get anywhere near that formation. They will come in and do something about it. And they are loving what we see here. Again, nothing goes straight up, but we got buy signals for trading on Wednesday. Then we're out to Bitcoin. Bitcoin has just been doing everything we've asked it to do. It's been a wonderful chart. It's going to all of our projections. Now, the Omni actually waved me off and told me I'm not allowed to get long Bitcoin again on Wednesday if I wanted to. In other words, had I been trading it on as a day trade, it waved me off, but the Omni arrow is still green, so it is expecting higher still in Bitcoin. Now, traders, knock, knock. You know how this works, right? We've knocked here, we've knocked here. We've knocked here a few times. We've knocked again here. You cannot keep knocking on this door without it opening. So sooner or later, that door's going to open. Pay attention to that. Maybe not tomorrow, but that door's going to open. And now we're out to silver. Hi-oh, silver away. You know how that works, right? Well, it doesn't. Here's an old adage that was taught to me when I was 18 years old. I was on the trading floor literally for 2 months. And God bless him, one of my favorite mentors, Dominic Orsiello, he said, Oscar, silver, whatever it sticks its ugly head up, you take out your lawnmower and chop it off. I'm like, what do you mean? He said, silver's been in the same spot since I started as a kid 40 years ago. Well, you know what? Silver was at 31 when I started. It went down to 750. It got back to here. It's in the same damn place I started 43 years ago. That's 88, 87 years of silver not going anywhere. So here it is. It stuck its ugly head up, and we actually got long for it today and made a few bucks. But remember I said, careful here, double top silver fans. I will have to black this out if it starts to get scary. Well, the Omni turned red. I am blacking out. This is careful here. Uh-oh, we're in some trouble. Watch out, kids. This is likely what we're going to get in silver tomorrow. Why? Because the Omni flipped its arrow. And I just follow Omni. Now we have a double top and the red Omni, so the odds are good that that's probably going to work itself out if you don't get stopped out along the way. And then there's this, Tesla. Traders, once again, we came out and said, listen, man, this is what happens when Trump has one of his crazy melees, but usually the market recognizes it's over right away and it comes back up. So here's where we were, and I told you, basically it's a no-holds-barred wrestling match, but the match is over. Don't get out of Tesla. That's where we were. Look where we've gotten to thus far. Look at that, huh? Is that not great analysis? Now, of course, I used technical analysis, but I told you there was a fundamental in there as well. That being your fundamental, the wrestling match, which creates the downdraft, and then everyone realizes, well, it's not like the car company's broken or anything. Right back up we went. That was the fundamental. Of course, I could show you where the support was technically if you came out to OmniCamp. Traders, I hope that helps. I hope all of these charts help keep you in check. Please come to livewithoscar.com. It's absolutely free. I'll see you in my live trading room.